This is our second video for the Algebra 2 final practice test. We're on question 26. And it says factor completely, and we've got 2x to the fourth minus 54x. So the first thing I'm going to do is take out a GCF, and it looks like a 2x. And leaves me with x to the third minus 27. This inside here is a difference of cubes, so this is going to equal x minus 3. And then using my formula, remember, same, opposite always positive, x squared, 3x, and 9. Alright, 28, 4 over x to the fourth all over 16x to the 16th. This here, you got to be careful. People miss so much here. You want to try to be as neat as possible. It is because it does get a little messy. So 4 goes away, leaves me with a 1, leaves me with a 4. I get rid of all of those, and it leaves me with x to the 12th in the bottom. So the actual answer is 1 over 4x to the 12th. 30 says 2x to the 7th all over y to the negative third, and all of that is raised to the negative 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give everything a negative 2. Even the numbers. Okay, remember, this is the power to a power, so you are multiplying the powers. Okay, you are multiplying the powers. That's actually a negative 14. So looking at this, now we have to deal with the negative powers. And we're going to say, okay, this drops down, and so does that. And nothing's actually left on top besides a 1. We're looking at 4 x to the 14th y to the 6th. 32. This says simplify, and that basically means to multiply everything out. And we're looking at x times x plus 4 times x minus 6. What I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to FOIL first. So I'm looking at x squared minus 6x plus 4x minus 24. X squared minus 2x minus 24. Then I'm going to distribute the x out there. And there's my answer right there. So I FOILed these two first, then I distributed the x afterwards. Then on to 34. Okay. 34, they want us to find the area, the volume. And there's 3 dimensions, so I got to multiply everything together. Okay, I recognize this is going to be x squared plus 4x plus 4 times x plus 1. Okay, FOIL those two together. If it helps you, I think most people do, I'm going to just kind of put this on the other side. People are used to looking at it like this. And we got to multiply this times everything, and then this 1 times everything. So we're looking at x to the third plus 4x squared plus 4x. Now the 1 plus x squared plus 4x plus 4. Looking for like terms, x to the 3 does not have one. I have to cross it out just to know that I'm done with it. And I've got that one and that one. That's plus 5x squared and plus 8x plus 4. 36. We have some polynomial division. X minus 4. Then we get 7x squared minus 3x plus 2. Okay. So remember, you're always trying to multiply this binomial to make these first terms match. So I got to multiply this by 7x, put it over the same power, and make sure you're distributing it into both. Okay. And then subtract it, so you do the opposites, and you got to distribute it to both, and we get 4x plus 2. And then we'll have to multiply this by to get to that, and it's going to be 4. So we get 4x minus 4, then subtract it, we get 6. Now the remainder is always plus 6 over the original divisor. Okay, so just kind of rewrite it. Your answer is this. Okay, plus. It's plus. 38. We're looking at 2x squared equals negative 3x. Okay, and remember, if you have something squared, as a general rule, you always want to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides and take out a GCF of x, and we're left with 2x plus 3 equals 0. Set those equal to 0, and I'm looking at x equals negative 3 halves. Okay, so my answer is 0 and negative 3 halves. Number 40. Says x to the third minus 2x squared minus 8x. So we have a power greater than 1, so we want to set it equal to 0, which it already is. And I want to start factoring. This has a GCF of x equals 0. Now I'm going to try to factor this trinomial. And as anything multiply to 8 negative and add to 2, and we're looking at x minus 4x plus 2. And now I set all three of these equal to 0, so my answers are 0, positive 4, and negative 2. 42. Says, what would be the equation of the new parabola y equals negative 4x squared is translated to have a vertex of 5, 3. So they want to take this one and give it a new vertex. Okay, and the main thing you have to understand about this one really equals this. Okay, so its vertex right now is 0, 0. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug that stuff in. So the new equation would be negative 4 times x minus 5 squared minus 3. And that's what the new one would look like. 44. You're going to go ahead and find the vertex here. So we've got first have to find the x value. Okay. So we get y equals x squared minus 8x plus 3, and so I'm going to use negative b over 2a to find the x. So that's going to be negative 8 negative all over 2 times a, which is 1. That gives me 8 over 2, and that gives me 4. So the x equals 4. Now to find the, remember the vertex is a point. To find the vertex, you've got to take this thing, plug it back in there to find the y. And so y equals 4 squared minus 8 times 4 plus 3. And this is going to equal 16 minus 32 plus 3, negative 16 plus 3, negative 13. Okay, so the actual answer is the coordinate point 4, negative 13. And that's my vertex. 46, they want to know the x-intercept, not the y-intercepts, the x-intercepts. And if you remember how to do this, if you ever want to find an intercept, you always make the other one 0. So if we want to find the x-intercept, we've got to make the y 0. Okay, now we got a quadratic set equal to 0. We go ahead and factor x minus 10, x plus 2. So the answer is 10 and negative 2. Um, 48. Okay. We're getting into what looks like unit 5. Square root of negative 64 does not have a real solution, but it does have a complex solution. So the first thing I want to do is break it up like this, and that turns into I. Square root of 64 is 8. So I'm going to rewrite it by putting the I behind, and there's my answer. 50. We're looking at 4 over 3i. Remember, we're going to have to rationalize, so we can't have a radical or an I in the bottom, so I'm going to multiply by I over I, and this equals 4i all over 3i squared. Remember that I squared is -1, so we're going to get 4i all over -3. Okay. You may also see it written as with the negative up top or the negative out front. It's all the same. Okay. 52. To rationalize this one, we have to use the conjugate. Remember, the conjugate is the same number, same looking binomial, just different signs in the middle. Not the front number, but the middle number. So up top we have to distribute, and we're looking at 8i minus 16i squared. Down below I'm going to FOIL here, and I'm looking at 1 minus 2i plus 2i minus 4i squared. And so I'm looking at 8i minus 16 times -1 all over 1. Those go away. Minus 4 times -1. So that's going to be plus, and that's going to be a plus. So we're basically looking at, I'm going to put this out front, 16 plus 8i all over 5. This is times 1, now it's not all over 5. Okay. Now if they want this written in the complex form, okay, this would not be okay. You'd have to split it up into 2 fractions. Okay. That is in your a plus or minus bi form.